Welcome to Ask the Lawyer radio podcast with attorney Brian Figueroa of the law firm Figueroa and Associates. This podcast features a recording of our most recent radio show aired weekly in New York City. We hope you enjoy the show, which features news, views, and interviews on matters such as immigration, personal injury, bankruptcy, divorce, family law, estate planning, wills and probate, deed transfers, civil rights, criminal defense, workers' compensation, and taxes, both individual and business. You can contact us at 855-768-8845 or visit us at www.askthelawyer.us. You have questions? We've got the answers.
Until Death Do Us Part, analyzing its origins and modern implications for divorce. Marriage is often regarded as a sacred union, a lifelong commitment between two people who vow to support and love each other until death do us part. This phrase is ingrained in many wedding ceremonies, but have you ever wondered where it originated and why it has been so strongly upheld? While marriage is intended to be a bond of love, companionship, and mutual respect, reality sometimes presents circumstances where remaining together is neither beneficial nor safe. This segment will analyze the phrase, "until death do us part," exploring its historical and religious roots, the ethical considerations surrounding divorce, and the specific reasons why a woman might seek to leave a marriage. Key topics include physical and mental abuse, adultery, cruel and inhumane treatment, financial slavery, the well-being of children, and the fear of breaking God's rules. Through this analysis, we aim to provide a well-rounded perspective on when divorce is a justifiable and even necessary decision. The origins of "until death do us part." The phrase "until death do us part" originates from Christian wedding vows, specifically those found in the Book of Common Prayer, first published in 1549 by the Church of England. The full vow traditionally recited in Christian ceremonies is, "I, name, take thee, name, to be my wedded wife/husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death us do part, according to God's holy ordinance, and thereto I plight thee my troth." The phrase emphasizes marriage as a lifelong commitment, rooted in religious principles that view marriage as an indissoluble covenant before God. Many Christian doctrines argue that marriage reflects the relationship between Christ and the Church, which is meant to be eternal and unwavering. However, the phrase "until death do us part" has been interpreted differently across cultures and religions. While Christianity and Catholicism traditionally discourage divorce, other religious and secular perspectives acknowledge that certain circumstances warrant the dissolution of a marriage. Who made this up and why? Marriage vows and the institution of marriage itself have evolved throughout history. While the Book of Common Prayer codified the phrase, marriage as a concept predates Christianity and has been a fundamental part of human civilization for thousands of years. 1. Religious influence. Many religious doctrines promote lifelong marriage as a sacred duty. In Christianity, Matthew 19:6 states, "So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate." Such verses reinforce the idea that marriage is divinely ordained and should not be broken lightly. 2. Social and economic reasons. Historically, marriage was not just about love, but about economic stability, property, alliances, and maintaining family lineage. Divorce was often discouraged because it disrupted these structures. 3. Patriarchal control. In many societies, strict marital expectations have been imposed to maintain control over women. Divorce, particularly for women, was historically stigmatized, making them economically and socially vulnerable if they chose to leave their husbands. While the phrase was originally intended to uphold the sanctity of marriage, it has also been used to guilt individuals, particularly women, into staying in harmful or unhappy marriages. But is staying in a destructive marriage truly God's will? Why should a woman get a divorce? Divorce is a deeply personal and often painful decision. Many women struggle with this choice due to religious beliefs, social pressure, or fear of financial instability. However, there are legitimate and morally justifiable reasons for a woman to seek a divorce. 1. Abuse, physical or mental. Domestic abuse is one of the most critical reasons for a woman to leave a marriage. Abuse can take many forms. Physical abuse. This includes hitting, slapping, choking, burning, or any other form of bodily harm. No woman should be forced to endure physical violence for the sake of marriage. Mental and emotional abuse. Constant belittling, manipulation, gaslighting, threats, and intimidation can erode a woman's self-worth and emotional health. Many women hesitate to leave abusive marriages because of fear, love for their spouse, or religious convictions. However, even within Christianity, abuse is not condoned. Ephesians 5:25 instructs husbands to love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. A marriage where a woman is physically or emotionally harmed violates this fundamental principle. 2. Adultery. Infidelity is another major reason for divorce. Many religious doctrines, including Christianity, acknowledge that adultery is a valid cause for ending a marriage. Biblical grounds. Matthew 5:32 states, "But I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, makes her the victim of adultery." This suggests that Jesus himself recognized adultery as a legitimate reason for divorce. Emotional betrayal. Adultery is not just about physical acts. It represents a deep emotional betrayal that often shatters trust and intimacy in marriage. Some women choose to stay and work through infidelity, while others find it too painful to continue. The decision is deeply personal, but no woman should feel obligated to endure a repeatedly unfaithful partner. 3. Cruel and inhumane treatment. Cruelty in marriage can go beyond physical abuse. It can include constant humiliation and degradation, forcing a woman into unwanted acts, isolating her from family and friends, threatening her with harm or blackmail. Such treatment erodes dignity and can lead to severe psychological distress. Staying in a cruel marriage is not an act of faithfulness, it is self-destruction. 4. Financial slavery. Financial abuse is a less discussed but equally damaging form of control. Signs of financial abuse include preventing a woman from working, taking her income and refusing to provide for her, forcing her into debt, using money as a tool of manipulation. A marriage should be a partnership, not a dictatorship where one partner controls all financial resources. If a woman is financially enslaved in her marriage, she may need to leave for her own well-being and independence. The children, staying for their sake or leaving for their safety. Many women stay in unhappy or abusive marriages for the sake of the children. While this is an understandable concern, it is important to consider. Children raised in abusive or toxic households often suffer emotional scars that last a lifetime. Children learn what love, marriage, and respect look like by watching their parents. A mother's mental and physical well-being directly affects her ability to be a good parent. If a marriage is harmful, leaving can be the best decision for both the woman and her children. Fear of God's rules. Is divorce a sin? Many religious women hesitate to divorce because they fear they are violating God's laws. However, it is essential to distinguish between God's ideal and God's compassion. While God values marriage, He also values justice, love, and protection of the vulnerable. Malachi 2:16 states, God hates divorce, but He also hates injustice and suffering. Jesus acknowledged divorce in cases of adultery, Matthew 19:9. God is merciful and does not want His children to endure suffering in His name. Staying in a marriage that endangers one's life, well-being, or children is not God's will. Conclusion: marriage is a sacred bond, but it should not be a life sentence of suffering. The phrase "until death do us part" was created to emphasize commitment, but it was never meant to trap individuals in abusive, toxic, or harmful relationships. Women should feel empowered to leave marriages that involve abuse, adultery, cruelty, financial slavery, or harm to children. And while religious beliefs are important, no loving God would demand that a woman endure a destructive marriage for the sake of an outdated vow. Ultimately, divorce is not a failure. It is sometimes a courageous act of self-preservation and protection for one's future.
Do you have a legal issue, question, or concern? Turn to Ask the Lawyer. You have questions? We've got answers. For a consultation or to refer a client, visit www.askthelawyer.us. Again, www.askthelawyer.us. You can also register for our paralegal program, get legal news, business consults, or other information on educational issues. Yes, ask the lawyer. You have questions? We've got answers. For a consultation or to refer a client, visit www.askthelawyer.us. Again, www.askthelawyer.us.